Hey, how's it going? My name is Dr. Stephanie Reid. I am a naturopath, wellness coach, and I'm starting a new channel. And the channel is just kind of going to give you an expose of what it's like to be a coach. Everybody wants to coach somebody, and I have been told that the person that should be the coach is somebody that has a little bit more information than what you have, because supposedly they should be able to get you a little further in life because they've gone a little further. But I'm here to tell you that being a coach is not that easy and it's not that glamorous, right? You're not having the opportunity that you think in the coaching space. It is a lot of work, is it a lot of research? There's a lot of learning that you have to have. Now, if anybody tells you that they can help you because they have been sober for 5 days and they can teach you, no, that's not a coach. If somebody can tell you, girl, I could help you get out of that bad relationship. I've been out of my toxic relationship for a month and a half. No, that's not coaching. What you find yourself is in the space of coaching, you find yourself connecting to people that have the same trauma experience that you have. And you just kind of wind up latching on to their story. So I just want to dispel the myths about what a coach is. And I guess in order to do that, I have to tell you how I got started. So I did preface that my name is Dr. Stephanie Reid. I am a naturopath and I've been in practice for about 20 years, helping women navigate wellness, right? Whether it's breast problems or uterine problems or reproductive problems or emotional problems, there is something to be said about natural medicine. But what happened was, as they say, what had happened was COVID hit and I had to reinvent myself. And that reinvention is what got me into the coaching space. So, back in 2005, is when I decided that I wanted to be a naturopath. And so by 2009, I was fully educated in the naturopath space in a formal university setting. And then I opened my brick and mortar offices. I wore the white coat. I had the staff. I even had, let me tell you, I even had a natural remedy uh, pharmacy in my office. I was all in. And this was in a time when naturopathy wasn't popular. As a matter of fact, they called me a quack. Have you ever heard Quack Watch? If you typed in naturopathy, Quack Watch was in there. And so it wasn't easy to try to schmooze society into the reality that, hey, natural medicine is a thing, it's viable, until Dr. Sebi came on the scene, which was kind of like a shot in the arm in my profession. So let me kind of backtrack and let you know that naturopathy is not new. As a matter of fact, naturopathy was mainstream medical model in the late 1900s, before what was allopathy, your MD. But we got pushed out of society because naturopathy is effective. And big pharma, even little pharma that it was back then, decided that it needed to validate pharmacology and push out natural medicine. So that's why you had the shamans and the the medicine men in the indigenous culture. You also had people who understood the herbs and vitamin and herbal remedies and that kind of stuff, even in the late 1790s, right? So you have that reality, but coming full circle into our current reality, naturopaths weren't popular. The people who had esoteric knowledge, who subscribed to natural things, our grandmothers, the people who looked at health and wellness in a different way, they were always dabbling in the shadows. So you could find, an herb shop, or you knew somebody who knew something about herbs, but you would find that person who would give you a little tincture, little herbs in a little brown bag, and you shoo you on your way, and they tell you how to use it, and miraculously you got well. And I think that's the societal view of what people thought naturopathy was, and they didn't really trust it. So when I came on the scene back in the early 2000s, I wasn't popular, but I started gaining momentum and popularity in naturopathy as complementary alternative medicine started to be a buzzword. And functional medicine became a buzzword, and people started looking into the importance of taking vitamins, herbs, and supplementation, even though mainstream was like, no, don't do that. So I actually had a thriving practice. As a matter of fact, at the hiatus of my practice, I had two offices. I was also a formal research site for a major university for students studying biochemistry and how it relates to mental health when we have poor diet. So I was all in Submerged and naturopathy world. And guess what? Just like with everybody else, COVID hit. Ugh. Because COVID hit, I had to close my offices. I had to close my offices and I tried to work in a different space. It just wasn't working. And by then I was so frustrated with the reality of what was happening. I was not frustrated enough to give up the hard work that I had being an entrepreneur with a brick and mortar office that was successful. So I had to reinvent myself. So when you decide to become a coach or you embark on a coach, I don't think anybody actually sets out to go, I'm going to be a coach. I think what happens is people realize that there needs to be a pivot in their life structure. You need to pivot in how you make your money. You need to pivot into how much money you can command. And there is this glamorous idea that becoming a coach is going to give you six figures. Well, I'm here to tell you, you can have six figures, but getting a coach, but it's a hard work. It is hard work. And when I say it's hard work, I'm not saying it's impossible. So, what I'm going to offer you in this space of my channel is to give you some insight on a day to day business model of a coach from the perspective of how I deliver service to clients and then from the challenges that I have on a daily basis. So, getting back to like the foundational story of this channel, why I became a coach, I had to pivot. I had to figure out how to pay my car note. I had to figure out how to pay my car insurance. I had to figure out how to, add to the, pay for the groceries in our home. I had to figure out how to support the higher costs girl. We have oil, sir. We have oil, ma'am, sir. We have oil in our house, and the oil bills were going sky high. It was just a mess. And so I had to figure out either I'm going to let all of this hard work that I've done fizzle out and I try to find a job, and I don't know how that was happening when all the jobs are going. And I figured, okay, I need to become a coach. I need to settle down and shift so I can maintain the momentum that I had helping people, but also sustain my own livelihood. It was getting hard out here, going from six figures and living kind of like a carefree life to figuring, oh my God, no money's coming in. So the truth is, when you're an entrepreneur, especially a coach or a practitioner, no clients equals no revenue, period. So when you don't have any revenue, okay, you have all the you have the accolades of this or the certificates on the walls. And I have a bachelor's degree, I have a master's degree, I have an ND degree and a PhD in natural medicine. I'm a licensed massage therapist and a certified coach. I mean, I have all the degrees, but what good is that if you're not making no money? I mean, let's just be honest. So the money wasn't coming in. So I had to make that pivot, and my heart wouldn't let me stop supporting people. So this is what just started happening. I started getting imposter syndrome. I started feeling like I felt defeated. I felt uncomfortable in my own skin. I felt unqualified to switch gears from the brick and mortar experience into a coaching model, even though my clients would say to me, Dr. Steph, you're so wise, you should write a book. In that hiatus of not knowing what to do with myself, I wrote 3 books. Dr. Steph, you should really create some courses because you have something to share beyond vitamins, minerals, herbs, and homeopathics. You have to share this information. And I'm thinking, how do I do it? So I had to go to school all over again, school, right? Because when you become a coach, you just can't be the person that wakes up one day and says, I want to be a coach. You have to have an accountability for that decision. How are you coaching them? In what way are you coaching them? Would you be causing people more harm? These are the things that was going on in my mind when I was trying to figure out, how do I transition how I used to help to how I'm helping now? And that was hard for me because nobody was coming in. And every coach or school or certification program was 20 grand, 15 grand. I'm like, oh my God, well, how do people pay for this stuff? And then I started being resourceful and I started saying to myself, okay, if you really want this, you have to make some really cold, hard decisions. Okay, if you make the investment now, you will be able to recruit the investment to be able to pay your mortgage. And quiet as kept, we had to put our mortgage on hold. And by the time that hold was over, the mortgage balloon payment was astronomical. And I'm thinking, I'm so glad I made the investment in myself. So I got mentors. I paid for people to teach me how to capture your attention as my audience. I paid for people to do my social media. I paid for everything that I thought I needed to pay for to get myself going. And here's the unglamorous truth of that. A few times I got scammed. People saw my hunger, they saw my drive, they saw my need to keep going no matter what. They saw my vulnerability. And because they saw my vulnerability, they thought that they could capitalize it and take advantage of it. Now, a couple of times they did take advantage of it until I saw it. And then I was able to pump the brakes, put some stops on things, and make some demands of things like a refund. Like I absolutely called my credit card company, like, look, I need to dispute this charge. I learned some things along the way. And one of the unglamorous things I learned about being in business and being a coach is that when you're coaching people and you're giving them what you believe that they need to have, you have to set the intention up front, what the expectation is on both ends. So I didn't know that I needed to have a kind of like an operation of understanding agreement. So we understood what the coaching relationship was going to be. That is the most unglamorous aspect of the coaching process, because here you are saying to someone, this is what I can offer you, and you have to sign this agreement that this is the collective intention. And you're not going to sue me if you don't get results. Because here's the thing, coaching is very subjective, right? You can pour your heart into someone, but if they're not equipped to move beyond their own limiting beliefs, they're not going to get it. It's not going to click. And even though you're giving your all to give that person what they need, if the client doesn't do the work, they won't get the results that a coach says that they can guarantee. And then that becomes that friction. You have that friction about, you said that I would be able to. And then the question has to be from a coaching side, which is the unglamorous part. But are you practicing these things that I offer you after our call is over? Because I'm going to bring it. I'm going to give you and pour into you every aspect of the coaching experience that you need, because I'm pulling from all of the resources. Number one, not of just my formal education. Like I said, I have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, an ND, a PhD. I'm a licensed massage therapist and a certified coach. So I come with a lot of formal education, but I also come from a place of wisdom from my own experiences. Yes, me. I've been depraved. I've been, what do you call, what's the word? I've been deprived of resources at times. I've been taken advantage of. People have stolen from me. People have lied to me. People have betrayed me. I mean, I'm no different than you. And how that transcends from my personal life into business, it absolutely has a thread. And so if I didn't learn how to cut the cord and set boundaries, I would not be able to be a good coach for you. So the unglamorous side of coaching is me admitting that, you know what, I'm only a good coach because, girl, me too. And this happened and that happened. And then as sometimes when I think about it, I go, oh God, I've been through so much. How did I survive all these things that I've been through? And what I hear my spirit say is, I had to go through all of these things because at the end of the day, my purpose is to coach women. And how could I get you to a level of reality of where your life could be if I haven't been nowhere? Remember at the top of this conversation, I said, I've heard, and I've actually heard this from Tony Robbins. I've listened to a lot of other high powered coaches that have years of track record of moving the needle in people's lives. And one of the things that Tony Robbins said is that you have to have gone through something in order to take someone to the door of recovery. So I have been through that door of recovery, and that is the unglamorous side of coaching. In order to be a good coach, in order to be coached effectively, your coach has to have gone through some stuff. No silver spoons allowed. You have to have gone through the trenches. You have to have some scars. Your scars are mostly going to be in your heart. And a good coach has transcended their own scars so they can help people transcend them. Scars are also sometimes physical scars. And scars are sometimes also mental. We call that mental, we call that suffering. And suffering is a small minded thing. I'll tell you more about small minded, large minded another time. But the idea is that you have to have some skin in the game to be a coach. And the skin in the game to be a coach is also an opportunity for you to learn how to be vulnerable in this process. Like I said, being a coach is not glamorous. It is absolutely rewarding. And you see, people's videos and you see people's what do you call it? You see their advertisements. You might even seen mine. Hi, I'm Dr. Stephanie, a naturopath specifically for women. And are you a woman 40 and over feeling uncomfortable, unsupported, and undervalued? Then I have the answer. Yes, I've done those videos too. That's just kind of the hype of what coaches have to do to get your attention. But a good coach absolutely has the scars, is vulnerable, has a sense of humility because they know at the end of the day, it is a business, but it's a business of service. And to serve people, you have to have a heart for service, but you also have to have the head for business. And sometimes the twain shall not meet. So, back to me being taken advantage of. That's because in the beginning of my coaching process, which is not so glamorous, I knew nothing about internet e-commerce business. Getting online, pivoting myself from a brick and mortar office, that's a lot different than grabbing an audience from out of thin air. How do you communicate with that audience? What do you say? Who helps you do that? What are the tag words? Like, what the hell is a tag word? These are all of the things that you have to know to be a coach that is not only approachable. Now, you mean to tell me now I have to build a personality? Well, girl, I got enough personality for the two of us or for the 2,000 of us, or for the 20,000 of us that will be watching this video in short time because I plan to have this channel go viral. And I'm just saying, I'm throwing it out there. That's part of coaching. Coaching also says you have to project what you see your client getting into, and you project that to them so they can see the vision, so they can move the needle in their lives as they're getting new wisdom and new insight from you who've gone through the trenches, that has their own emotional and spiritual scars, that's gone a little bit further or a lot further than where they are right now. And I'm telling you, coaching is not glamorous, but it is so very rewarding. So, in this channel, I'm going to be sharing with you kind of what my coaching days look like. What do I encounter on a daily basis? So, if you're thinking you want to be a coach, there is no rhyme or reason to it, but you have to be so settled into why you're doing it that you do it with authentic application and you do it from a heart of love and concern for other people. When you do it that way, the money will come. So I would not admonish you to say one day, wake up and go, I want to be a coach because you think it's going to give you 6 figures in 3 days. It's not. Your 6 figures might not come for a few years. Mine is now just starting to trickle in after all this time. Now, I've been a naturopath and a naturopath for 20 years. I've only been a coach for 2.5. And within that 2.5 years, I've written courses. I'm doing my first international retreat. I've written 3 books, and I have moved the needle for thousands of women. So that was my timer to give you that 20-minute spiel. If you're like anything that I said, like, comment, and connect with me because I'm building a community. I have a whole bunch of videos that nobody has ever seen, but let's start fresh. We're January 2021. Let's just start fresh. So I will see you probably tomorrow. So if you learned something about coaching and how it's wonderful, it's rewarding, but it's not glamorous, that was my first installment of coaching. It's absolutely fabulous, but it's not glamorous. Talk to you tomorrow. Until next time, be well.